Hello and thank you for calling the Auto Glass Helpline. Today we are going to do a beginning to end replacement on the windshield on this 2024 Mercedes GLE 63S, whatever that means. Hopefully it means it's not more complicated than normal. So let's find out. First, grab our pick tool here because we're going to remove the shroud. Sorry, didn't mean to bump your head there. From our camera and electronics here. Pull this edges down like so, and then right up inside here, see if we can use our finger. And nope. So there's a little tab right there. We're gonna push on that to release that guy right there, a little spring. And it doesn't take much pressure to release. Like so. Set him aside, and then we're going to slide that down and out of the way. You can see that just latches on there and up here as well. And it grabs onto these guys here. I'll set that aside, and then we are going to pop this little camera loose here, like so, and swing him out of the way. And then these mirrors, if I'm not mistaken, they don't grab, they just swivel all the way around. So we're going to grab some channel locks and we're going to grab that mirror right there in that little spot for it, give it a twist to release that. We'll let that guy hang out and put our pliers on the floor because we're going to need those when we put that back on. And we'll set our pick aside to save ourselves from stabbing our own fingers. We're going to use our ever-present screwdriver here. I'm going to push down a little tab to release that plug, and then we're going to reach in here and release our rain sensor. I want to give this some nice even pressure pulling down on it until it lets go. And we'll see if it keeps the rain sensor pad on there. Stayed nice and clean. Excellent. We don't need to replace that. And then our camera. So we're going to reach up here. We're going to unplug this guy real quick. And then we can also unplug our camera the same way. We're going to reach in here. We're going to push this little tab up and pull that plug. And I've seen this a couple of ways. You can either just take your ever-present screwdriver, wedge it in here, and use that to push that back. You can also remove these little metal tabs, apparently. These ones got a little catch on the back side of them, so these ones don't just pull out. So I've seen these where you can pull these out and it makes it a lot easier, or it just loosens up everything and you can slide it right off. So we're just going to use this method. We're going to pry that guy back right there. And then we're going to go over here and kind of do the same thing. And then we'll just use our thumbs and push that up and out of the way. And then this guy we will set in the back seat so it doesn't get knocked or the lenses get scratched. And that is everything under the shroud. Take our rain sensor with us. Close that, put that back. Now I'm going to finish prepping our windshield here. I've already cleaned the surface. So I'm going to set up our WRD Pro 6. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I use 2 handling cups on this. First one goes down here at the edge of the frit. Next one up, comfortable distance for you if you're using this method. We're going to anchor these guys down as best we can. Grab our Pro 6 setting device here. Hook goes to the top edge of the glass. This one goes on the window. We're lining up this screw with the top of our pillar cover, and then we're lining up the top of this bar with the bottom of this mark right here. So see if I can give you a good view of that. Let's slide this back a little bit so we've hit all of our marks. And that's about where we want him, right there. Anchor that cup on your driver's side window. Move over to your new glass. Hook at the top, thumb at the base of the bar, 90 degrees. You want this bar to be as perpendicular as possible to the edge of the glass. And anchor that down. And then, because I shoot the glass, I remove this bar so I don't get hung up on it while I'm shooting, but also so I don't get hung up on it while I'm walking around my glass. I'll remove our retainer strip here, and then give this guy a flip. There are plenty of people out there that will tell you you do not need to clean the glass if it comes out of an OEM package, which you do not agree with, because you do not know how many fingers have touched this piece of glass on the way to its destination. So regardless, you should clean the glass. So I'm gonna get rid of this tape residue on here real quick. A razor blade. When you're using a razor blade, always make sure you're sliding it in one direction. Don't ever do this on the glass, because any debris you might pick up can scratch the glass. Now we are going to give this a bit of a scrub here. Throw on some gloves for our glass cleaner. And then let's see how clean our pinch weld is. Not too bad. You can see a little contamination there and there. Look at that. Right out of the factory. There's a little bit right there too. So again, pointing out that there's some right there. No matter where this glass comes from and how it's wrapped up, you still need to clean the pinch weld. There's some right here, right along the edge of the glue line. So again, doesn't matter where it comes from. Doesn't matter if it's Mercedes, BMW, FY, does not matter. Always make sure you clean your pinch weld and clean it properly, because you don't, again, you don't know how many hands have been on this thing as it's made its way to you. Just because it's wrapped up doesn't mean it's clean. Right. Give this a quick wipe down. And then we're going to give it a quick check. Make sure we got all those contaminants out of there. And looks like we're good. Give the rest of the glass a quick wipe down. And move on to taking apart the car itself. This one has this camera, so we'll go ahead and snap that guy off right now. Make sure you leave these covers on while you're spraying and cleaning, and even while it's just sitting up here, so you don't wind up with dust underneath those little shrouds. But don't forget to take them off before you put your camera on either. That was one of my dumbass moves of the day a while back. And to be fair, it is a mistake you will only make once. So. And we'll go ahead and put our rain sensor on right now. So that is done. And switch gears here. Moldings on the sides here, pretty simple. You're gonna grab a hold, pull towards yourself, and then pull up at the same time. These pop up pretty easy. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide this guy over and around the hood right there. Just move this little rubber out of the way, and then you're gonna slide this down because it has this nice big arm that sticks up inside here, and if you yank on that, you'll break it, and then it won't sit properly, and you'll wind up with a wind noise. Same thing on this side. We're just gonna reach here, we're gonna pull towards ourselves and up at the same time, like so. Make sure we're released on all of those. And again, we're gonna slide this over and out of the way. Give that a little wiggle if you need to, and then that slips right out. Set that right up there. To lift our hood. And if you don't know, the nice thing about Mercedes hoods is you can actually push these up past the stopping point. Gonna just give these a quarter turn here, and then lift this guy out. Set that out of the way. Same on this side. You got one right here, one right there. Give that a lift. And we'll set that one out of the way as well. And to pop our cover here on the wiper nut. Same thing here. We'll just go ahead and pull that one off. That one is a little different. We'll get to that one in a second. We can use our WRD TRT tool here, trim removal tool, to pull these guys out. There's one more right there. And again, these nice thin blades slide underneath these things super easy with very little effort. Put that back together. Then we are going to remove this other wiper nut cover slash hose guide. This one is hooked around the bottom of the wiper arm, so don't just yank on this thing because you don't want to break it. There's an arm right here, and then there's another one on this side, and it clamps around that wiper arm. So we're going to give this a little lift with our finger. Same thing on the other side. You can do the other side first if you want, because that side's a little bit more stubborn. And we're going to use our ever-present screwdriver to persuade that one off there. All I did was I slid this right behind there and gave it a little twist to persuade it. And because these lines run through our cowling here and on the other side as well, we're going to pull these wiper nuts, take these wipers off. We're going to leave them sitting on the cowling. We're going to lay the cowling on our engine because these ones are a pain to take everything apart for. To save you a little bit of time. So these are a 16 mil, and we're going to go ahead and remove these guys here. Same thing here. It's over here. And then one more. This guy right there. So, and we're gonna leave this guy right there. And give this a push. Let's go there. This one, we're going to reach under here and we're going to give it a lift, like so. And then that will release that one. We're going to let that sit right there. Let this one also sit like so. And then we're going to remove the rib for the cowling across here. One nice thing about Mercedes is these slip out nice and easy. And again, guys, safety, if you're going to run your fingers underneath this guy right here, make sure you have a glove on so it doesn't cut your finger. So give that a lift. Come over to this side, give it a little extra. This wiper we can actually pull off of there, and we'll let this one rest right there. And this guy, get this to let go here. This one you can see is wedged in between the wiper motor, or the wiper transmission. So we're going to pull these hoses out of here like so to give us a little bit more slack. And you can see all this underneath here. And looks like we just got one plug over there, so let's unplug this guy here. And then that should give us enough slack to bring this around like so. There we go. Easy peasy. And then if you don't want this to pinch, you can pull this strip here out of the way and let that sit down a little bit lower. Going to remove our plug here for our heated wiper bed. Like so. Pull the wires out of that. And then unplug this guy, pull that out, and then that's your little tab to release that. And because we're not worried about this, we're just going to get rid of this like so. That's our cowling. Drop our hood back down here, let that sit. We're ready to cut it out. Going to grab our drill, our drag, our poker, and our orange bat. Grab a couple of guards here. And because earlier that battery's going dead, so switch now. To open this guy up. It's a little warm out here today, so we're going to let the draft come through. Right. Set all that aside. Set these guys up here. And we got our WRD orange bat. Black edition. Right now we are loaded up with some XN96 line because I was saving a windshield earlier. I attached that to the windshield, and I set mine about halfway between the pillar and the mirror, sometimes a little further one way or the other depending on the piece of glass. And we're going to go ahead and give this a poke through the bottom here. This one I think we're going to shoot for under the retainer. We got a pretty good glob here in this corner. I'm good.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you. Give that a pull. Drag this out. We're going to hope that it's not crushed on the back side of this and cuts our line. So, it's a rolled pinch weld, so we don't have to worry about hanging up on anything underneath it. Let's slide this over. Make sure we are under the glass and not between the layers. Back up and around. Same thing up here. Make sure you are under the glass. Do that right there. And see, we got a little bit of a ooze out right there. So to keep from getting too much pressure on the glass, we're going to give this a little cut here. It'll allow our line to slip between the glass rather than be pulled, rather than tearing through the glue to get there. And make sure we're up around the edges here. And let's start cutting. Grab our drag and our drill. Make sure your guards are in place. And we're going to pull up our pillar side first. And pull across the bottom a little ways here. And it's smashed. So we're going to have to figure something out here. That was crushed. Yeah, we can see glass right inside there. So, and sadly, my extractor battery was dead, so it's at the shop charging. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some manual extracting. I'm going to use our push knife here. And we do what we have to when the odds are against us, right? So, get past all of this. Like so. That. Set that aside, and we're going to pull our line out from here because we already broke over there. And rewrap that. And we're going to come over here and then lift this up, see if we can pull past all that broken glass. And we're going to tie off. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure we're on the right side of everything and make sure we're not tied around any of our steering wheel controls. Straighten this out, straighten this out. And take our two pieces and we're going to tie them together. You're going to take this one and you're just going to tie a knot right around it like so. And then you're going to do the same thing with this piece that you just tied around, but we're going to tie around our other side like so. And basically what that's going to do is that's going to give us two slip knots. You grab this and simply just pull. These two knots meet right there in the middle. Then we're going to give this a spin. Make sure we don't get hung up on anything down here. that. And we should be past all of our broken glass. Grab our drag, give this another spin. And there we go, just like that. Let that go and switch sides. Pull across here, same position or close to it, about halfway between the pillar and the mirror. Our pump on here, let that draw down, and we are going to use this little trick here. We're going to make sure we're above all of our wires, and we're going to put our line above this bracket like so. Get tucked up there. You can see it fall behind the bracket there. That'll make sure we are above our headliner. Still need to pay attention, because once this drops out, you can still hang that headliner. Our guards back in down here. We're going to draw the top first. And just like that, we are free and clear, ready to lift this glass out. Put that away, that away. We will re-spool this later today. And all of our tools, make sure we put them back. And lift this glass out of here. Get it in clear. Oh yeah, that did get smashed pretty good under there, didn't it? All right. Throw this old bit in the van. And grab our trimming tools, a rag, and our spray. Jump up here and give this a trim. Using our WRD Stingray blades, and a little dirtier than I was hoping for a new car. And give this a good brushing down. I'll brush this glass out of here. Pull that bit of molding out of there. Give this a quick spray down and a wipe down. I'm going to do that first because, again, just because your urethane manufacturer has an approved glass cleaner, you still don't want to add a contaminant to that fresh urethane that you just trimmed away. Give that a quick cleaning. Looks good there. Get this trimmed up. We're actually going to go with our narrower blade here across the top. This one doesn't get used as often, so it stays a little sharper longer, and it works good for these super thin, when the urethane gets a little crunchy like this on these Mercedes. Switch to this guy coming around the corner because it gets a little wide. And switch back to our narrower Stingray. Nice, you can run it right along the edge of that pillar trim and it doesn't cut into it. You can cut into it if you do it wrong, but it's nice to have that blade shaped like that so you can get around those.
Did you get a call to do a windshield on a Camaro also?
Nope.
Okay, then you're good. Then you're off the hook.
All right. No Camaro today. Right, throw that over there. Get this trimmed a little ways across here. That bottom edge is pretty clean, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm not going to spray that. Double check this edge, wipe away any extra debris we might have, and switch over to the other side. Same game, give this a spray. Not too much in the way of loose debris, so we'll skip the brushing. Around our corner here. If you can, you always want to cut away from yourself. That way you don't stab yourself in the hands or the arms or the anything else. Make a switch to our narrower blade. I think we're done with this one. So we'll slip him back into his pocket. And trimming towards myself, I always move my body away as I'm trimming so I don't accidentally slip and stab myself with my own blades. If I don't have that option, what I'll do is I'll take small bites. Like I'll pull down like this and then move my whole arm down and do the same thing. So same thing if you're pushing, try to push with just your fingers. That way if it slips, you don't do one of these and wind up stabbing into the paint job at the top. That. Set these aside to grab our primer stick. Make sure you wet the end of your primer stick with your primer before you start dragging it across here. And give this a nice coat here. Around the corner and up around the edge, back to there, and make sure we get some primer on our seam sealer here that got trimmed away. Up here too. This side, a little bit up here, a little bit right there, in the corner there, and a couple other spots. I'll give this one a little extra primer in the ditch there, and touch up that little spot, and we should be all good to go. I'm going to let this sit for a couple of minutes. In that time, we'll clean the rest of the windows, since we only did the driver's side window at startup. We're trying to work more efficiently. You can clean the windows at the beginning, which is what I usually do, but since we're waiting for primer to dry, you can do this. Use that primer dry time to vacuum your floorboards, clean your windows, depending on who you work for and what your protocols are. Hi everybody. One more there. And that wasn't supposed to happen. You weren't supposed to lock. Good thing I have the key in my pocket. That. And we'll clean up our old urethane mess here real quick. Get our new urethane sausage pack ready here. We're shooting our glue with our Power Push 6000 from Meritool. Set that aside. I'll use that for a body shop later. Make sure you blow the end out of your sausage pack, that way you don't have any dry bits of urethane from around that collar. And let's do some gluing. First things first though, we're going to pull these off because these have a tendency to get stuck in the urethane or make you stick your fingers in the urethane while you're pulling them. So get those out of the way right now. And I'm going to start our bead on our passenger side. That. Clean that off. And let's throw some tape on this guy. Put our setting bar back in place. Make sure our cups are all anchored well. Same thing with our door cup over here. Looks like that hasn't moved. set this piece of glass. Going to hang it up there just like normal. And then this one ducks under just a little bit, so we're going to watch our corners here. And set the top, and then set our bottom corner here. Check our reveal at the top. That looks good. And set that guy in place. Come over to this side and give this a little lift here. And pop our window cup off. And watch our top. Make sure we're sitting in the right spot. Watch our side. Make sure we're far enough over this way that we don't glue ourselves to the pillar. Check our upper reveal. Put your tape in place and remove your second cup. Hang those. That away. Check on everything here. Make sure our upper reveal is good all the way across. Make sure your side to side reveal is good as well. Looks good. Make sure we're all decked. And you want to make sure this reveal is even all the way across, because these are notorious for a wind noise. Then we're going to go ahead and deck this bottom where those adhesive blocks were at. You can pull this piece of tape off of here, because we're going to be plugging that guy in a minute. Switch sides again here. Deck this down where our adhesive blocks were at again. And we can pull our cups. Jump inside here and put all of this back together. So we can, that's going to go over. Make sure, again, you pop your little camera covers off here. Throw those in the trash pocket. And we're going to reach back here and grab our camera. I'm going to plug in this guy in the top first. If I can find him. There he is. Because that one goes behind the camera. Tuck those wires up. And I'm going to put that pin in right there first. Make sure you're up high enough. And just give this a snap down like that. These lock in pretty easy. They don't take too much pressure. Plug in your camera here, like so. You can plug in your rain sensor now. And I'm going to take this guy, tuck these wires back up under here, and put this camera back in place here, like so. Tuck those up. I'm going to grab our channel locks. Align that where we want it to go. Grab that with our channel locks and give that a spin. And then we should be good to snap our cover back on. Slide this up into place here. Just give it a push. That snaps in super easy. Make sure you're tight against your headliner. If you're not, you can just give this a bump and it bumps it back into place there. Take your last little bit of the shroud here and just snap that back into place, and that is all good to go. Put those back. that back. And we are now done inside, so we will grab our seat covers and remove those as well. Get those later. And to put this guy all back together, I'm going to bump that up a little bit. And to reach back here and plug this guy in like so. And make sure you lock it. Put these two wires up in here and then snap that little cable keeper back down. Try to make sure you don't have too much tension on that ribbon pulling over so it doesn't get torn. And we'll run this guy back up here. Make sure we're dropping everything back in place. I'm going to run these ones back between the wiper transmission and whatever this piece of plastic is right next to it, like so. It looks like our drain, our cowling drain, so tuck those back in and make sure that's aligned. Pull him out of the way. Those are aligned. You get this guy plugged in underneath our cowling here. Don't forget that. I'll grab that guy there. Give that a click. Make sure again you lock that down. Make sure our posts are aligned. Drop that in place there. And go ahead and click that cowling down into place. Go ahead and swing these guys around here. Get this guy put back in place right there. And grab a couple of wiper nuts here. Get this guy tightened down, or at least snugged down. Like so. Come back over here. Get this one on. And we'll go ahead and tighten these guys down while we're here. And then what we can do is put this cover back on. Just gonna go right over the nut and then snap down onto that arm right there. And grab our other cover here. We'll tighten this side down like so. Put that one on. Put our pins back in here. One. We can go ahead and put this cover back on while we're over here. Like so. Make sure all this stuff just kind of fits back together. Like so. Come back and do that molding in a minute. Get both moldings at the same time. Put our other wiper in place here, and we'll make sure we get this guy slid back into its proper location. This one's got a couple of little grooves here. We want to make sure we slide those onto the cowling to lock that down like so. And we'll get this guy. There's not a lot of slack in this water tube, so Get this one snugged down. And get that cover back on as well. Need to put our seal back on here, like so. Grab our other cover. Again, slip this guy back in. We need to pull this little flap out of the way, because as you can see, this has a little groove in it that locks into that little part of the cowling right there. Drop that in and lock those down. Make sure you grab your tools. Go ahead and put these back on. I'm going to slide that up inside there. Make sure you are on the outside here. Make sure you're all aligned and tight. Same on this side. To slide that right there. We'll go under our hood first. Then we can slide that in place. Just knock those down. Peel our tape. Grab our glass cleaner one more time. Take our suction cup marks off the glass. So, and that is a 2024 GLE windshield from beginning to end. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you in the next video.